So, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're heading up north to Iceland. And we're going to be exploring two pretty incredible UFO encounters. Each one offers like a totally different perspective on what that first contact with extraterrestrials might look like.
Yeah, totally different. And just a few decades apart, too.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
So we've got historical accounts, eyewitness reports, even some like declassified government documents that we're going to be looking at.
It's going to be a good one, I think.
So get ready to, kind of explore the mysteries of the universe and maybe even like question what you think you know about our place in it all,
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's start with the incident that like really kicked off the world's obsession with UFOs in Iceland.
Okay.
The Iceland incident of 1958. So have you ever wondered what would happen if we encountered a hostile alien civilization?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
This story might give you chills. It's April 23rd, 1958, right smack in the middle of the Cold War.
Yeah.
You can imagine like the tension, right? The fear of nuclear annihilation just like hanging over everything.
At any moment.
And then all of a sudden these radar systems just light up, detecting this unidentified object just like hurtling towards the U.S.
I mean, you have to think about it. At this time, people are just constantly on edge, fearing a Soviet attack.
Right.
So when this unknown object pops up on the radar, everyone's thinking like, could this be it? Like, is this World War III?
Yeah, total panic.
Total panic.
At first, they thought it was a nuclear missile.
Right.
But the way it was moving, the speed, it didn't fit the profile at all.
No, not at all.
So fighter jets are scrambled, like from both U.S. and Soviet bases.
That's nice.
It's just chaos.
Yeah.
The world is holding its breath, wondering what's about to happen.
Yeah. I mean, this is where it gets really interesting. The Cold War context is crucial here. Both sides are so suspicious of each other, so ready to interpret any unusual activity as like a hostile act. You can see how easily this could have spiraled out of control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it does. So this squadron of American F-8 fighters intercepts the UFO, right? They're trying to make contact.
Right.
But instead of some peaceful greeting, they're met with aggression. The UFO fires on the jets, taking down all but one.
Wow.
Which barely makes it back to base, heavily damaged.
I mean, this attack, whether it was self-defense or a deliberate provocation, it changed everything.
Yeah.
It forced NATO's hand, and they had to make a terrifying decision.
They decided to launch 6 nuclear missiles at this thing.
6.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
It just shows how seriously they were taking the threat, how scared they were of what this unknown technology could do.
I mean, think about the weight of that decision.
Yeah.
The potential for global catastrophe really highlights the fear and paranoia that gripped the world during the Cold War, how easily that fear could be exploited.
By any threat.
Even by something as outlandish as a UFO.
Right.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. But so the missiles hit their target, they cripple the UFO, which then crashes in southern Iceland.
Okay.
Okay, now picture this. A joint NATO-Soviet ground assault on the crash site. Former enemies united against a common foe.
Wow.
Like, it's like something out of a sci-fi movie, right?
It is. But this alliance, however temporary, it's a testament to the unifying power of fear. It shows how a perceived external threat can momentarily bridge even the deepest ideological divides. It's a powerful image, isn't it?
Absolutely. So they set up a command post, they surround the wreckage, they prepare to move in, they get within a kilometer, and then it all goes wrong.
Oh.
The surviving alien crew unleashes this devastating counterattack. Tanks are sliced apart, entire squads are wiped out.
I mean, the description of this battle is particularly intriguing. It suggests that the alien technology was far more advanced than anything humans had at the time.
Right.
Yeah. It raises questions about the nature of their weaponry, their tactics, their understanding of human capabilities.
Makes you wonder what we were up against.
For sure, yeah.
And just when it seems like the humans might be gaining some ground, the aliens detonate their power source.
Yeah.
The explosion is massive. It wipes out everything for miles. Only a handful of survivors make it out alive.
Wow. This final act of self-destruction, it raises a lot of questions about the aliens' motivations.
Doesn't it?
What were they trying to protect? What were they so afraid of? Was it a last-ditch effort to prevent their technology from falling into human hands? Or was there something else going on entirely?
That's a great question. Sadly, the world never got any answers. The whole incident was immediately covered up. They blamed it on a failed Soviet invasion.
Oh, wow.
But the impact was profound. It led to the creation of the Xenonauts.
A top-secret international organization.
Oh.
Dedicated to protecting Earth from future alien threats.
Yeah.
The Xenonauts. They were born out of the fear and the uncertainty of that 1958 incident.
Right.
A direct response to the realization that we might not be alone in the universe.
Right.
And that those others might not be so friendly.
It's a chilling thought, right?
It is.
That there could be, like, organizations like this, like the Xenonauts, operating in the shadows.
In the shadows, yeah.
Just, like, preparing for these scenarios we can barely even imagine.
Right. I mean, it makes you wonder what else might be hidden from public view.
Yeah.
What other encounters, what other technologies, what other secrets might be out there.
Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into our second story, which takes place just a few decades later, also in Iceland.
Oh, wow. Huh.
It's a story that's less about fear and destruction and more about hope and anticipation.
So it's interesting how our perception of extraterrestrial life can shift so dramatically, isn't it? From viewing aliens as potential invaders to seeing them as beings we might be able to communicate with, even form relationships with.
Yeah, it's almost like we went from War of the Worlds to Close Encounters in just like a couple decades.
Right.
But let's get into the details.
Okay.
This is what's known as the Snæfellsjökull incident of 1993.
Okay.
So imagine you're in Iceland and word starts spreading about this prophecy.
Oh, prophecy.
An impending alien arrival.
Oh, wow.
On Snæfellsjökull. This glacier known for its, well, unique energy.
I mean, Snæfellsjökull has long been considered like this place of power.
Right.
A sacred site in Icelandic folklore.
Yeah.
Associated with mystical energy, spiritual awakenings, even a gateway to other dimensions.
Right.
So it's not surprising that it would become the focal point for this alleged alien contact event.
It's like the perfect setting for a close encounter.
Yeah, it is.
And it all starts with this British man named Michael Dillon, who claims to have been contacted by aliens. Dillon's account is fascinating. He described receiving specific instructions from these extraterrestrials.
Okay.
Telling him to gather a group of people at Snæfellsjökull on November 5th, 1993.
Okay.
For a face-to-face meeting.
Wow. I mean, can you imagine getting a message like that?
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you believe it?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's easy to just dismiss it as like fantasy or delusion.
Yeah.
But what if there's a chance, however small, that it's real?
Right. And it wasn't just Dillon. An abductee also came forward, claiming to have had visions that corroborated his prediction.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly, this wasn't just a fringe theory. It was gaining some serious traction.
Right.
The media picked up the story, and it quickly spread like wildfire.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of a scheduled alien arrival,
right.
It just captured the public imagination. It was fueling excitement and speculation.
Yeah, I bet.
And people were genuinely excited about the possibility of making contact, of welcoming these extraterrestrial visitors.
It was a far cry from the fear and paranoia of the 1958 incident, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
It's almost as if, in the absence of concrete evidence, we project our own hopes and anxieties onto the unknown.
Right.
In 1958, it was the fear of the Cold War, the threat of nuclear annihilation that shaped our perception of aliens as hostile invaders.
Right.
But by 1993, the Cold War is over. There was a sense of optimism.
Yeah.
A willingness to believe in the possibility of peaceful contact.
Yeah, it's amazing how much context can influence our beliefs, you know?
Totally.
So as the date approached, an organization dedicated to handling extraterrestrial relations was formed.
Wow.
People were preparing for this new era of intergalactic diplomacy.
I mean, think about the implications of that. The idea of creating protocols for interacting with alien civilizations,
Right.
establishing lines of communication, even forming alliances.
Right.
I mean, it's a concept that was once relegated to science fiction, but here it was
Yeah.
being discussed and debated in a serious context.
It really shows how far our thinking had come.
Totally.
And the anticipation just kept building. A conference was held.
A conference.
Yeah. Drawing hundreds of people interested in UFOs and alien encounters.
Wow.
There were self-proclaimed eyewitnesses, researchers, even people claiming ties to intelligence agency.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, this gathering, it further legitimized the event.
Right.
It created a sense of community and shared belief.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of collective enthusiasm.
Right.
How a shared belief can bring people together, even if that belief is based on something as unconventional as alien contact.
Right. So November 5th, 1993 arrives. Thousands of people, along with news crews, gather on Snæfellsjökull.
Wow.
Their eyes are fixed on the sky, waiting for the appointed hour.
Yeah.
The moment of first contact.
Can you imagine the energy?
I know.
The anticipation in the air, the hope, the excitement, the sheer wonder of it all? It must have been an incredible experience, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. And then nothing.
Now,
No spaceships, no beams of light, no otherworldly greetings. The aliens were a no-show.
oh, wow. So despite the lack of any visible alien presence, many of those who were there reported feeling like a sense of positive energy,
Really?
a feeling of connection,
Yeah.
a feeling that something profound had happened, even if it wasn't what they expected.
That's fascinating.
Isn't it? It's like the experience itself, the shared belief, the collective anticipation,
Yeah.
it created its own kind of energy,
Yeah.
its own kind of meaning.
Yeah. It's a reminder that belief can be a powerful force,
Absolutely.
shaping our perceptions and experiences, even in the absence of concrete evidence. I mean, it makes you wonder, what was going through the minds of those people.
Yeah.
Standing there on a glacier waiting for something that never came,
Right.
Did they feel foolish, disappointed? Or did they hold on to their belief, finding meaning in the experience itself?
That's a great question. And I think it speaks to the enduring power of belief.
Yeah.
The human need to find meaning and purpose, even in the face of uncertainty.
And it's not like they were alone in their belief, right? I mean, we've seen similar events throughout history, like mass gatherings, prophecies, people convinced of the imminent arrival of something extraordinary.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the various religious and spiritual movements that have predicted the end of the world,
Oh, yeah.
the second coming or contact with higher beings.
Right.
These beliefs often stem from a deep-seated desire for change,
Right.
for transcendence,
Yeah.
for something beyond the mundane reality of everyday life.
Yeah, it's almost like a collective yearning for the extraordinary, a need to believe that there's more to our existence than meets the eye.
Exactly. And the media often plays a role in amplifying these beliefs,
For sure.
shaping public perception and fueling the flames of anticipation.
Yeah, it's interesting how the media's role in these events has evolved over time.
Yeah, how so?
In 1958, the government was able to control the narrative, cover up the incident, and prevent mass panic.
Right.
But by 1993, with the rise of 24-hour news and the internet, it was much harder to suppress information.
That's a key point. The way we consume and share information has dramatically changed our relationship with the unknown.
Yeah.
We have access to more information than ever before.
Right.
But it's also easier to spread misinformation.
Right.
To create and reinforce belief systems that may or may not be grounded in reality.
Right. It's like we're constantly bombarded with competing narratives, making it harder to discern fact from fiction, to know what to believe.
Exactly. And that brings us back to those individuals standing on Snæfellsjökull waiting for the aliens.
Yeah.
Were they victims of a hoax? Were they misled by the media? Or were they simply seeking something to believe in, something to give their lives meaning?
It's a question that probably doesn't have a single answer.
Right.
But it's a question worth pondering, isn't it? Because it gets to the heart of what it means to be human,
Yeah. To grapple with the unknown, to search for meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
And it also challenges us to consider how we approach the question of extraterrestrial life.
Right.
If we do make contact, how will we react?
Yeah.
Will we be open and welcoming, or will we be fearful and defensive?
That's a choice we may all have to make someday.
We might.
And perhaps these two stories from Iceland, as different as they are,
Yeah,
can help us prepare for that moment.
for sure.
One story warns of the dangers of fear and paranoia.
Right.
The other reminds us of the power of hope and belief.
Maybe the key lies in finding a balance between those two extremes.
Yeah,
Approaching the unknown with a healthy dose of both skepticism and wonder,
I like that.
being open to the possibility of the extraordinary, while remaining grounded in critical thinking and a respect for evidence.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
So as we continue to explore the mysteries of the universe,
Yeah.
let's remember the lessons of Snæfellsjökull and the 1958 incident.
For sure. Let's be curious, let's be critical, and let's be prepared for whatever might be out there
Yeah.
waiting to be discovered.